I'm pulling up the YouTube chat now. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the show. It is CLX Foundry Live right here live today on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX, along with our master builder, Zach Killingsworth. Paul is, well, in the words of Hans Gruber from Die Hard, sitting on a beach, shooting 20%. So there we go. Yeah, he's on vacation. I had to think about that for a second before I made that joke. So we've got a fun, different kind of a build. We haven't done an ITX build in a long time. I'm super excited about this. So with that being said, let's take a look at what's going to go into this. So for starters, we've obviously got our CLX chassis. This is a Horus NV5. No, it's not. DJ, go to the right screen. There you go. It is a Leon Lee 011 Mini Snow White. Now this is I think, is this the smallest version they make of that case?
Yes, this is the smallest 011 they've got.
Alrighty. So to go in that and power it, we're going to be using an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. That's going to be cooled by an Asetek 240 in AIO in black. We've also got an ASRock B550MC motherboard with 8 gigs of 3200 Patriot memory. No, I'm sorry, 16 gigs. And a 1 terabyte Team Group NVMe for the operating system. Our GPU is going to be a Zotac RTX 4060 8 gig. And then, of course, we're going to have 9 different GameBeast M2 fans, which is going to be very interesting to see how these fit in here. And our PSU is a Leon Lee 850 in white. Nice. All right. So let's go ahead and get the party started. Don't forget, if you have questions about something that you see or hear on the show, please feel free to ask. That's what we do. We love answering questions. Cosworth's here. Ivory's here. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I just forgot that I didn't send my traditional greeting message.
Welcome. Hello.
And that, right? Welcome in, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome in. Don't forget that this Thursday's show is going to be on TikTok, so you don't want to miss that at all.
Boom.
Okay, now we're getting this taken apart. This is going to be a little bit different than I think other Leon Lee cases. It's got the same concepts, but it is a little bit, it's arranged slightly differently.
Correct. It is a bit smaller than the Evo XL.
So what is the smallest ITX we have?
That would be this case right here.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
We've had lots of people asking for ITX stuff, so I figured I would grab one and show it off.
Ivory? Yes, if it's opposites day, you're correct. Alrighty, we've got our screen out. Nice. So, I have a question as we're getting this thing, ready to start things. So, we use terms like ITX, ATX, What are the different sizes and what determines that size?
Yes, that is a very good question. So there are three roughly basic sizes of motherboards. This is what we like to call an MATX. MATXs are kind of the middle boys. A full-size ATX, or your standard motherboard, is the same width as what we have here. It just goes down a little bit longer. So with full-size ATX boards, we can get a little bit more PCI slots, more NVMe slots, and we can just have a lot more on the board. And then one smaller than an MATX would be an ITX, and that's where we're really just cutting everything down to just these 4 standoffs, and everything will go into that. So usually when we go from an MATX to an ITX, we do drop 2 memory lanes, and we usually drop quite a few of our PCI slots. But that being said, there are ITX boards that do have a plethora of connectivity for all of the things that you might need.
Nice. That is awesome. So obviously we've got our board here. Let's take a look real quick at that IO shield area, because we're going to be doing a plug-in IO shield, a little metal one. So what we've got back here is obviously our 2 antenna ports. We've also got a PS2, which is for legacy gear. You've got 2 different USB 2.0 ports. You've got 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1s. And then you've got 1 3.2 Gen 2 Type C. Actually, you got 2 of those, and they each are 10 gig. Now, one's 10 gig, sorry, and the other is 10 gig A. That's right there. So telling the difference between that is basically looking at the color of the USB nubbin. What's that word? What do you call
little
it?
Plastic bit in there?
Yeah. I guess it's a USB nubbin. That's what I'm going to name it. All right. There we go.
Christened thee today on February the 4th, 2025. The nubbin.
DJ Blue PDX, first of his name. There we go. Yeah, so there we go. We've got everything covered there, plus your audio jacks down on the bottom, and that is what's going to happen. Plus you got your Ethernet jack. So obviously, PCs can't function without a brain, and for the brain on this thing, we are going to be using an AMD Ryzen 9. This is a 5900X. Now, Zach, what do you know about these processors?
This bad boy's got 12 cores. It's got 24 threads. It has a 3.7 clock rate, and you can boost this Bamba Jambi up to 4.8. Woo!
There we go. There we go. All right.
And it can only be installed one way.
Yes. And how do you tell what way?
There are little triangles on every processor and little triangles silk screened onto every motherboard.
Yep, so you just put that in there so the arrows point to the arrow and you lock it down. Nice.
Retention time.
So when it comes to the retention kit, what we're talking about is how we're going to cool the processor. Processors obviously get really hot, especially if you're playing some really wild games. And that is going to be an Asetek 240 AIO in black, which I believe is our CLX Quench.
Yes.
Yes, it's CLX Quench. There we go. Nicely done. Now, oftentimes we see the AIOs in the 3-fan form.
Correct.
So how big of a difference is the cooling capability of a 2-fan versus a 3-fan?
Well, you are adding quite a bit of surface area. So these come in 120 millimeters, 240s, and 360s in the 120 millimeter fan size. And then you also can get them in the 140 millimeter fan size. But yes, having more surface area in your radiator does allow you to cool off your processors a lot quicker and a lot easier. So with like the modern 14th gen and high X3D systems, having that extra third fan on there is pretty importante.
That is good to know. Good to know. Now, we've got that little circle of fun stuff that's in the middle, and that is the thermal paste. That's going to be how the processor basically touches the cooling device. How does that work?
Yes, so just because we are putting a flat surface against a flat surface does not mean that they are two smooth flat surfaces. If we busted out the x-ray machine, we would see lots of little dips and pips and stuff on both surfaces. So the thermal paste allows the heat to transfer from our processing unit into our cooling unit, and then that is just a rinse, repeat, recycle order where our fluid down on the processor will warm up. It will go up one of our tubes into our radiator where it goes down all of these little veins, and then we can see right here this edge is capped, so one side contains the hot liquid, the other side contains the cool liquid that goes back down and cools our system.
Nice. Nice indeed. Okay. So now we're going to be putting together, well, locking in the power for the pump. You got to have power for the pump. And Zach, why don't you walk me through that when you do it like this, which honestly looks great. What are some considerations to take when you're installing it?
Yes, I do it like this when I only have just the one fan header cable. This is a non-RGB unit. If you get like an RGB unit or something that has a screen on it, it will have extra cables on it. This is just an easy way to get one cable hidden very well. And the way I do it, I have done this wrong before and melted a cable. So you want to loosely stick it underneath your standoffs of your heat distribution device and just carefully wrap it around. If you pull it snug, that rubber could get up onto the processor, and what does the processor do? It heats up and you might melt some rubber housing, so that's why you just want to loosey-goosey around there, and that hides everything from it.
There we go. I have a great question coming in from Dr. K Ninja. Yeah. Over on the YouTube side. It says, any suggestions for a 420 millimeter AIO?
Like suggestions as long as you get a name brand, you should be good to go. And then that goes with kind of anything and everything, doesn't matter the size. Another thing with that is also note some heat distribution devices require software. This bad boy right here is just a one and done unit. You plug it in, you're good to play. Whereas something like Lian Li or Corsair, you'll need to have that software loaded onto the system to get everything up and going. But yeah.
We got Sandy Calcones over here on the purple side. Says, I love my CLX set. It's the first gaming PC I got. Nice.
Heck yeah.
Uncut Shane says, what GPU do you recommend for 4K gaming? I have a 3080 Ti at the moment, and I'm assuming it's going to struggle. Ooh. Well, depending on what's your target FPS.
Mm-hmm. I would, 5 series is out. You never know. I like personally jumping two levels. I went from a 960 to a 2060. I'm kind of looking at upgrading my system to a 4 series now that the 5 is out, because I bet we can find some 4 series on some pretty good sales. Steals of deals.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Next up, we've got to put in our RAM, and we're going to RAM it like this. Just kidding. It is Patriot 8 gig 3200, and it is in black. And so there's 2 of them. There's a total of 16 gigs. Now, the upside is this board has 4 different slots for RAM, so there's always the option of increasing that amount of memory to go from 16, say, to 32. So what are the considerations, though, when it comes to the opportunity to upgrade for RAM? Do they need to add just exactly the same size and speed? What are the rules?
Correct, you are. So like with this system here, our means of upgrading would be we would want to get 2 more sticks of 8 gigabit sticks at the 32 transfer rate. Now, we could get bigger sticks and we could upgrade to like 16 gig sticks if we wanted to, and then we could dip both of these guys. But yeah, ideally you want to match match brands and size specs all up together so that everything flows smoothly. If you get something that is a little bit of slower speed, then your two main sticks, they will operate at whatever your mains are running at.
Okay, now here's something interesting, and I've got to ask this because this is coming in from Dr. Ninja again, who's, by the way, said thank you for the answer. Asks, I've heard the Leon Lee LCD fans have a huge performance hit. Have you guys found this to be the case?
Performance hit? I have not heard anything about the Lin Lee fans. I have done quite a few installs of. That's like the one thing that's crazy with Lin Lee is they've got a plethora of fans, so you really just need to make sure that everything is from the same era and has the same plugins for everything to kind of mesh well.
Absolutely. Now, in order for us to get an operating system installed on this board, we've got to use something called an NVMe. This is a Team Group 1 terabyte NVMe M.2. It is it's the fastest form of solid state drive that is out there, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So what's the difference between this and other styles or kinds of hard drives?
So with hard drives, you can have actual moving platters on an actual HDD. And what's really cool about that is those things are like moving at wicked fast speeds. Like there's hurricane force winds inside of a hard drive when those disks are spinning, and they work just fine. They might be a little bit slower than an NVMe on like loading games or loading OS. That is because look at where it is housed. It is housed not sat on the motherboard, not directly soldered onto the motherboard. It has a cable, so there are things that limit the speeds that hard drives and SSDs can produce, but just because they might be older or a little bit slower doesn't mean that they're still relative in 2025 today.
Interstate Travel Crew has a good question. Says, so here's a question. I don't do gaming and can do restreaming with a program that uses a lot of resources of the computer. What do you suggest for a motherboard and other components to make the computer run smooth?
Nice. You don't game, but you restream.
I'm trying to figure out what that entails. Could you elaborate, Interstate? Like I stream and game, but I have one PC for each. Yo, Sean, what's going on? Hello.
When are we getting into some BF inspired man? Oh yes. Oh, I need to get my system. I was talking to my uncle this weekend about getting my system up and going, so that'll probably happen here soon.
That will probably definitely happen. Dr. Koenig says, thanks. I'm upgrading my PC into the new Haven, the HAVN HS420, nice, and replacing my motherboard, so I need a new set of fans and a radiator eventually. I'm going to move up to the 9800X3D for my 7900X.
There you go.
Let's see here. So Interstate Travel says restreaming a live channels at any given time, and the program will run the CPU temps to very high temps. Can we ask what you're using?
Is that a more of like a Intel software or AMD software? I would figure that out then.
Yeah.
And then kind of get something that's Intel, yeah. Then I would look at the new Ultra stuff. All of the numbers off of that I've heard from Paul have been sounded pretty slick.
Nice. Now, one thing to note is that we've already got two of our fans, our 9 game disc Aeolus fans. They're M.2s in black. These are great fans. And so when you're attaching a fan to a radiator, especially for those of you who are doing a live in-home build, I'm so sorry. I usually turn that turned off. It's usually it's best to have the airflow in one specific direction. So how is that? How do you know what you're doing with that? Walk me through it.
So I'm going to be mounting this onto the roof of our system. Chemistry has taught us that heat is a natural riser, so all fans will be, if this is the front of our fan, this is the bottom of our case, they'll be like this on the base and like this on the roof. And then they'd be like that on the front and like that on the back. So I just know that I want my radiator sitting on the roof with these pushing air out through them.
So a push as opposed to a pull.
Yes. And if your case is big enough, you could do the ever classic push-pull. But yes, ideally we like having our air get pushed through rather than being pulled through. We're building hundreds of systems, and that's just how we like to have everything run.
Travel Crew says, I will definitely look into that. Any better cooling fans than the stock cooling fans, or suggestions for an upgraded cooling fan?
If you're playing around with Lin-Li stuff, any Lin-Li things are pretty fun. Kind of however you like. I like the Game Dia stuff. They plug in with a real nice controller hub that can plug up to 10 fans. Some fans like some Lin-Li fans and some Fantex fans plug into each other, and you can have less cables. So there are quite a few different options. It really just determines like how much you want to do. Like these guys right here are just plug and play, like what I was saying earlier. But like if you get the Thermaltake or Fantex, Thermaltake or Corsair or Lin-Li type stuff, then you'll need software loaded up.
There we go. Sean also mentioned Game Diaz, Lin-Li, Noctua. Mentioned a few. Now, since this is a different size for the Lin-Li case that we usually use, let's talk about some of the features of this case real fast.
Yeah.
Because it's got the little hard drive bay in the bottom.
It does. This does have a external hard drive tray. Unlike the Evo XL, it is not a quick release, but you still can get your drives easily in and out. All you have to do is just plug a cable in. I'm going to do a case modification real quick, though.
No worries. Dr. K Ninja says, my 4070 Ti seems to be struggling lately while OBS and Path of Exile 2, when OBS and Path of Exile 2 are open. Everyone says I should be experiencing 99% GPU usage, but yet here we are. Also, is that an LTT screwdriver?
Heck yeah, this is an LTT screwdriver. And then as far as, what was the exact question again? Everything, so I think for a 4070, it should be.
Yeah, but using 100% of your graphics card is not uncommon.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Especially because you have to consider your transcoding everything from the game through OBS. It's got to save a certain amount of VRAM for that, and then you've got the game, and the game apparently, like, I have several friends who they're single PC streamers, so they play on PC and stream on PC, but they can't run Path of Exile 2 and stream at the same time.
That's a intensive game. Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
Well, apparently
it's very intensive. I've been playing it, but
yeah, Paul's been playing it on his 2080 Soup, and I think he's been enjoying it. I don't know if he's been struggling. He says he's getting close to the time frame of switching over.
Nice. Sean wants to know, is that a Lin-Li Mini? Yes, it is. It's the Mini Snow White. Ooh, what is... Oh, that's the extension panel. So,
yeah,
talk to us about that.
So this is in this iteration of the 11 Mini. It has an expansion slot that you get installed so that you can hold ATX motherboards and MATX motherboards. The case already is set up for ITX. So we just have to do a little bit of case mod to it. This is how the case is set up. Like, you can do a lot of different modifications to this thing. This is one of the ITX cases that can hold a 360 radiator and a triple slot 4 series card. So these are small but can still house all of the big stuff.
Nice. Yeah, Dr. Kidding just says he thinks it's a PoE2 problem. Check your settings. That's what I would say. But yeah, with that said, now we're getting this all locked in here. Now notice the screws. So there's a difference between the screws that are mounting that extra flap versus the standoffs, which are actually going to be attaching the motherboard to them. But before we put the motherboard in, we have to play with something called the deadliest piece of hardware ever, and that is our IO shield. What are some great tips when you pull this thing out, aside from please don't kill anyone?
Right. So with this IO shield that is non-attached, you'll get similar bits on other IOs that aren't attached. This one is on our HDMI port and our Ethernet port. We flip it over to the back side and we have these little tabs. What we want to do with these little tabs is fold them all the way back. The reason for this being, if we were to install this in our case and then we went and dropped our motherboard down in the build, if one of those little tabs went into the slot and we went to, like, say, we went to plug in our Ethernet cable and it shorts out. That is what could happen possibly. So you just want to always be careful and fold those tabs back.
Yeah. Sean mentions, I have my main gaming rig in the Black 11 Mini, fits my 280 AIO and a 280 millimeter liquid cooled 3080 AIO.
Oh yeah.
Case is amazing. Super curious about GPU and SFX PSU you use.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll definitely get onto that here in just a little bit. Dr. Agent mentions that he has a PoE2 problem, as in, like, he's completely addicted to it. Also, good comment from Dr. Just says, thank God for integrated IO shields. The best change ever made for motherboards. I would have tend to agree. Now, the interesting thing I'm going to talk about is if you notice on the bottom of the screen, well, it's toward the bottom of the screen, you've got that panel. I'm pointing at my monitor like you guys can see what I'm pointing at. You've got that panel that's for the hard drive, and then next to it's a blank space. So that is going to be, it's blank space, baby. But you know what its name is? It's a Leon Lee 850 watt white PSU. That's your power supply spot. Now, Sean mentioned a really good question, or mentioned a really good point when it comes to SFX PSUs.
Correct.
So what does that mean?
So just like how we were talking about ATX and MATX and ITXs for our form factor for our motherboard and case, we do have the same when it comes to when it comes to power supplies as well. Power supplies are going to be that ATX, which is the full size, and that is the standard for all cases until you get into the SFX era. Once you get into SFX, you are playing around with minis, and yes, there are cases out there that do that are full ITX builds that use ATX power supply. So you just want to read what your case is before you purchase things if you're building it on your own, because the SFX power supply is different. It is a lot smaller than a normal ATX power supply.
Yeah. We'll definitely get into that here in just a little bit. Gaming Made Today asks, will you folks have the 5070 Ti?
Heck yeah, boy!
I would assume so. We're kind of like a one-stop shopping center for all things computers.
DVD optical drives.
Right? Golden Neo asks, question, do you get customers who want cases with DVD drives?
Heck yeah. You're looking at one.
This is going to have a DVD drive?
No, me. I want one.
Oh, yes, got it. Okay.
Optics are the way to go. Optics and haptics. Every computer needs optics and haptics.
Yeah,
DJ's looking for his haptics.
Well, no, I'm looking for my other PC case. I think that one actually had an optical drive. I also just realized that the PC we have upstairs for multimedia has to be an ITX. It's tiny. It is literally not much wider than the optical drive. It has a 9 series graphics card. It's pretty tragic. You miss having a physical DVD Blu-ray Blu-ray write and read drive?
Dude, if you had a Blu-ray, you were baller.
Oh yeah.
You were baller. I only had a DVD. It was cool.
Yeah, so yeah, there was for a time, I believe, a Blu-ray read write drive, and it was expensive as all hell. Mm-hmm. But you could do things, and you could re-record. Yep. You could just burn it into it again. It's fantastic. Okay. Now we're getting all these on here, getting our little AIO set up. Now there's a space for 3 fans on the top of this. Is there any particular reason why you would want to go with a 240 over a 360?
Because that is all that your case can hold. Not really any reason for picking one over the other. You know, they both work phenomenally well on high-end units too. It's really like if we're getting into like overclocking and really like pushing the limits, then that's when having that 360 would be better.
Gaming Mate today says, I got my entire build ready, so I just need a place to get my 5070 Ti from. Hopefully it will be I'll be able to snag one alone, and you need a disk reader to download your Linux ISO to your NAS. Ah, there we go. Yeah, unfortunately we don't sell individual parts, but yeah. Okay, now we've got that up there.
Case cable.
What's amazing to me is we're still gonna be able to fit all 9 fans in here.
Correct.
That's gonna be fantastic. One thing that you can't really see right here is the rubber grommets that come with this. I love this feature about the O11s because it makes just for cable management that much easier. Yep. And it also helps, with airflow as far as not plunging all the heat from the power supply into the rest of the case.
Correct.
All ready for a new... Yes, just needs 50 series goodness. I would love some 50 series goodness. Dear NVIDIA, I would love a white 5090 Ti. Thank you. Okay. Actually, Asus, I'd like a ROG version. I'm a massive ROG fan. Republican Gaming. Asus's kind of premier line is the ROG series, and then you've got ROG Strix. But because I have a ROG Strix 3090 OC, it's still banging.
Oh yeah,
it's banging. But there's some things that I have to turn off, like DLSS.
Yeah.
It on the average cuts my FPS in half. So I'm just like, okay. Hashim, welcome in.
What is up?
Kensu says, I need more fans, not for cooling, but for RGB.
And throw some RGB sticks in there. Just throw some Kim lights or something, Crack open some Kim lights.
Okay, now we're getting this all plugged in. Now there's 2 different sets of cables that Zach's going to have to worry about. One is the case cables. The other are going to be the internal component cables. What's the big difference between that?
Yes, so the case cables are what I am just now getting my finished up. They're going to be your front panel, all of your USBs, your HD audio, They do differ and vary based on case, so not every case has the exact same thing. But ideally, I like getting the 3 groups organized out and done one at a time. It helps for troubleshooting and just making it a little bit easier on, building the system as you go.
Yes. And yes, it is scientifically proven that more RGB equals more FPS. Yes, generally speaking. Generally speaking. Okay, now we're getting this all plugged in and wrapped around. Who is ready for next weekend? Because next weekend is Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, gross. I mean, sorry. Yay! Happy New Year's, everybody! Yay!
Right?
Happy New Year's!
Yay, okay. So who's got plans? Right?
I'm the year
do
of
all
the
new
snake.
motherboards. Learning to go together asks, do all new motherboards have 2 SSD slots?
SSD? Are we talking about SATA ports?
Yeah, are we talking M.2s or actual SSDs?
Because that will differ per motherboard, how many of the SATA ports they have, and how many NVMe ports they have. If you are looking for the most NVMe's on a motherboard right now, you would be looking at an 800 series motherboard, a brand new Ultra or Ryzen board.
I have like what? 5 or 7?
Yeah.
With the expansion card? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is just nuts. Like, there's no reason for that. I mean, I'm sure there is a reason. I just am not a person who uses it like that. Sean says, console gamers, they're not like us. Sorry, couldn't resist. There we go. Fides, what's going on over there on the kick side? Hello, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you indeed. I've had to start adjusting my stream schedule because on Tuesdays we get the server update / reset for Steam, and it always hits right in the middle of my stream. It knocks us all completely out of the game for like a good 15 to 20 minutes, and so we try and not play Steam games on Tuesdays. So it's just like I always forget about this. Vitus mentions laughing at 50 series memes. What about you? And on that, I thought about you all. I don't know if you saw, but one of the 59 weighs 4.5 pounds.
It's a baby.
4.5 pounds? Talk about an anti-sag device. Good God.
You need Atlas in there. Holding the world up.
Shamosa, no! It got hacked. Yeah, talk about wrist workout to the max. Yeah. My bigger concern about the 50 series is the heat and how to cool them as quickly as possible. Short of just taking the side off. Because if I wanted to really decrease the heat in here, I would just take the whole glass panel off. But I don't really ever have to worry about that.
Fantex T30s and you stick them on performance mode.
There we go. There we go. It's like old AMD. You don't try to cool it. Place a fan on it and pray. As she mentions, even though the Grammys are always rigged, all the Kendrick Lamar fans were so happy. Let's see here. Pepper says, I mean, my 14th gen CPU generates more heat. If my 14th gen generates more heat, I could cook an egg. Oh my gosh. This past summer, I remember several people, especially down in like the Arizona area and New Mexico, when it would get super crazy hot outside, and they would literally fry an egg on the hood of their car. I'm just like, that is too much heat. Learning to grow says my Microsoft account gets at least 5 login tries a month from China and Russia. Who did you piss off?
My Microsoft account keeps telling me that I need to re-enter my password, and then every time I re-enter my password, it tells me I have another Microsoft account linked to this account, and it won't do anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend when it comes to those type of major accounts, always change your password periodically. Cosmos mentions I'd recommend the AIO equipped cards for better heat distribution. Reviews are good. Oh yeah, no, if I could get a liquid cooled 4090 or 5090, my God, I could definitely create a Terminator style moment. Let's see. Jokes aside, I will say that it's cool. The 5090 and 5080 and 5090 are using liquid metal instead of thermal paste. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
So, you remember that
Terminator movie? Yeah.
Schwarzenegger movie? Yeah, where he just like, boom.
Terminator 2, yeah.
Yeah, it's that. I don't know how it works, but it works. It's the same thing. As long as it transfers heat, that's all you have to do is transfer the heat from the processor to the heat sinks.
According to the Go Ogilvy, it says liquid metal generally offers significantly better heat transfer than thermal paste due to its much higher thermal conductivity, meaning it can cool a processor more effectively, but it comes with the risk of potential damage from spills or short circuits as it is electrically conductive, making it crucial to apply carefully. While thermal paste is safer and easier to use, but less efficient at transferring heat.
So, it's like going
I've never even heard about this before.
Like going from your Prius to an F1 car,
Oh, yeah.
It's a big step up, and you need that mechanic to take care of it.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, is that how do they use liquid metal on the PS5 boards? I don't know. I'm not a PlayStation.
Boo! Right. Consoles, get that console talk out of here. Boo.
Temperance says my office without a video game generally hits 80 degrees from the PC. My house AC is set, I think, to 74 or 76. Last time my PC it hit 78 while gaming. Wow. Well, I mean, you are in Florida, where it's just hot as all hell constantly. Look at this. I feel like my power keeps flickering. Right now, the console's the only option. Well, yeah, that's so unfortunate, Shimosa. I'm sorry, man. Yes, but that's basically what it is. It says yes. So basically, apply it with care, or it blows up. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm really going to love seeing how that works. I wonder if it comes pre-applied, or has its own. Sorry, I was thinking of process. I was thinking of CPU, not GPU.
Well, if it's a graphics card, it'll be internal.
Already
It'll be like RMA issues. That's where it'll like actually come into play. Hopefully, most people aren't cracking them open just to crack them open.
Yeah, well, that's why. And to jump over on the heat conversation happening with Fides, it says. So, if you get sweaty due to the heat in your computer room, at least when people say you are being sweaty, at least you can say that you're not wrong. They're not wrong, but for a different reason. See, I'm in a basement, and I'm in the enclosed back end side of it. So there's no light. There's no lights. There's no windows down here. So it's all controlled lighting. But even during the summer, it stays cool down here.
Candy.
But I've had to turn the AC on in here several times because this puppy just starts breathing heat.
Dink.
Angrily.
Dink.
I wish I could have gotten into Final Fantasy. I really wish I could have. Shimosa. I tried it. It's just not my bag. Golden Neil says, do you think tariffs will increase computer prices?
Everything does and will.
Yep. I installed a portable AC unit in my office last year because of all the heat. Yeah, I have to have a separate one in my room because my room gets all of the well, you know, I call that PC my puppy or my dragon or just the God box. My room is the first room to catch the sun in the morning, and it sits there and just heats the whole house up. When it spins around to the side, then it stops, and then it sets on my housemate's
Your house spins
windows.
around to the side?
No, as the sun comes back around, in the evening, it's always on the front of the house. So I got tired of, well, you know, waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, just sweating a lot. You mean dragon? Yes. Speaking of dragons, I just finished. So I have a habit of when I'm doing office work or just doing things that I need to take care of.
Why is this?
What is that?
This is the VGA cable.
What?
This is the CPU cable. That's literally plugging in right behind the power supply. Here's my VGA cable, which goes deep into the system. Come on, Linley. You guys are, I love it because you're giving me some nice, very pretty braided cables. Oh, that hurt, but check your lengths. If those were flipped, oh, that would be so good. Ow, that hurt.
There we go. Sorry, my monitors went off. Okay. Yeah, it does seem, it feels like it's a tad short there.
Okay, there's that.
Clyde says with heavy sarcasm, I have a Windows PC for gaming and then a Linux gaming PC for testing games. Between the two, that is a 70 degrees Celsius of heat in my room. It's so lovely. I mean, it's nice during the winter because as soon as I start playing, like if I'm playing Siege today or something, I'm gonna be warm. It'll be nice.
I had to take yesterday off because I tweaked my neck, and so this is as far right as I can move it right now. So I'd be a broke man.
So this is a little SFX. It is a Leon Lee 850 watt power supply. It is in white. Zach, what can you tell me about this?
Yes, so this is a modular power supply, so my cables did not come attached to it. I used the ones that came with it. If you do have a modular power supply, you can get cable mod cables for it, and those can be some colored cables. But the thing with that is we do want to make sure that they belong to the power supply. Just because you might find an extra SATA cable down in your box of tech downstairs and you just got home from the Buy More with a new hard drive and you want to plug it in, make sure that that belongs to the power supply itself. They are keyed different, pinned different, and you can do some damage by plugging the wrong cable in. So always, always, always discount double check to make sure that you are using the correct cable.
And Learning to Grow asks, is that going to mess with the wire management?
Oh yeah, we do that every day.
Yes. Jumping back over here to the kick side, SFX is an indication of the PSU, right, of the PSU size, ATX and MATX being the other measurement acronyms. Yes, correct. Okay, now we're getting this. This looks a little problematic. A lot of zip ties. Now, I do like the fact that this is so much smaller, this as a power supply.
Oh yes.
But given the fact that it's smaller, does that mean it's going to create more heat?
No. So these guys are pretty efficient on all of their specs. They have 1,000-watt power supplies that are just a little bit bigger than this thing. So these are really nice, really efficient power supplies for being SFX. The only thing that is the downfall of SFX is because it is small, you're going to be paying a little bit of a premium price for it, but if you're wanting small, that's worth it.
There we go. Oh, Hashim's over here like, trust me, it's no worries for Zach here. He even dreams cable management on those sweet dream nights.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, wait, what? All right. Getting so much closer. Any specific tips or tricks that you can provide the viewers when it comes to working with cable management in such a small space?
Yes, ideally this is why I like to operate each cable group at a time. As you can see, I have all of my fan cables in here because I was a madman and screwed all those in before I did my power supply. Sometimes you need to do a power supply first, because if you are plugging in a box for your fans, you know, if I was to plug all this in and have it set right here where I normally would, then it would be pretty hard for me to put my power supply on top of that all tied up. So ideally I wanted to get my power cables in and everything, and then I'm going to take care of all of these, because all these sitting on top of this is going to be okay.
There we go. Very careful, very precision work here. Cable management is probably one of the worst things that I've ever been forced to try and learn. Over on the red side, Royal Sims 19th hole says, so I'm currently in the market for a new PC build. Quick background, I do a lot of sim golf while using OBS Studio for live streams. 4-camera setup, utilizing Discord as well.
Nice.
Yeah, we could definitely help you out with something like that.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic.
We've got all of the cool rigs.
Fights mentions, I know it can look gross over time, but Velcro zip ties are amazing in my opinion. It means you won't have to scissor them off if you get the cable management wrong the first pass. Royal Sims, again, I get credit for not cracking the joke. CLX, so Royal Sims is looking at the CLX Horus gaming desktop with a Ryzen 7 9800X 3D, 64 gigs of DDR5 5600, an RTX 4080 Super, 2TB NVMe.2, and a 4TB hard disk.
Oh yeah,
that will definitely do it.
Oh yeah.
It's like I hear you, and yeah, putting the 64 gigs in there is definitely a smart move. I have 64 gigs in mine, and the difference in performance is wild. Just wild. Now it's starting to get cold down here. Okay. Got the last final few things here. Zach switching. There we go. Absolutely, Royal Sims. Absolutely. Okay. Now you can notice on the top we've got several different connectors along with the power button and the headphone jack. We've got 2 Type A's, 1 Type C, and those will be available on the top. It's interesting how it changes place depending on the size of the build. Like, mine are down on the bottom right-hand corner of the side. I don't think that's it. But it's interesting how each one is just a little bit different. A little bit different. Even when it's done by apprentices? Well,
servers aren't bad.
Server
farm, I've set one up before. I've set up a call center. Yeah, you don't know how much fun you are having until it is 3 a.m. in the morning and you are finishing up a room of 75 workstations. That's a lot of work.
Yep,
it's a lot of work.
One of for the West Coast, one of Apple's iMac technical support is located in Bend, Oregon, and I went out there. I was living out there for a little bit, setting up that whole call center, and that was madness. Just the cabling alone was absolutely it was unimaginably difficult. Definitely would not do it again.
I will do it again at my house whenever I get internet and I set up a little game room. And then there'll be
you heard it here first, folks.
And then there'll be like,
Zach's getting the call center.
Oh yeah. That'd be fun. Oops.
Let's see here. Fights mentions size or design can change it. Have you all seen that geometric case? The one made almost entirely of magnets. Gamer Nexus mentioned it. Really? Okay, hold on. Let me pull back up the interwebs. He said geometric PC case.
It will be a while. It'll still be a while before I get internet, guys. But if I ever did get internet, that's what I would do. I would set up a little LAN room for my one computer.
Oh, wow.
And then I'd rebuild my old computer.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah, I had not heard of that, but now I'm intrigued. So intrigued. By Geometric Future M8. Come in multiple sizes. That's really interesting. Minero Gamer 1981, welcome in. How are you? Fights mentions I can easily share a horror story like that. One state had old internet cables used for military communications only. They wanted to declassify and give it to the public. I felt like a gopher trying to find 5-year-old cables.
All right.
And Seshim, Zach, that better be live streamed to us folks here. Ow. I am bleeding.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. So I caught my cuticle on my middle finger. I will not show you. On what feels like a mounting screw for the desk.
Okay, there's.
And I just like peeled back part of it. That is just painful. All right, and there we go. Look at that. That looks fantastic. I like it. That's doing all the just final checks.
RGB. All right. This will be the Game DS hub. We can plug into our RGB header on our motherboard here, and then we can control everything via the motherboard software.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, this geometric thing is pretty impressive.
Is it made by?
It's just called Geometric Future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shove it on my Discord page.
Geometric, yep, definitely will do. This is a very interesting. I'm just going to send this direct DM to you.
Yeah.
Or should I just put it in the live or general channel?
There we go.
I'll put it in the general. That is the longest link known to mankind. Maybe I should not. Doesn't matter. We'll figure it out.
It's there now.
It's there now. It lives there now. Giant wall of ridiculousness.
Okay.
That's fascinating. That is absolutely fascinating. Geometric Flamingo is what Gamers Nexus looked at.
Huh.
Nice. Nice. Oh wow! And they come in different colors. Is like imagine having it all just being magnetically attached. That's wild. Coming over to the red side, we've got D Millen says, "Hi, I just purchased a CLX Set i9 4070 Super. I have had several crashes out of nowhere where the screen goes blue and the computer restarts. I've updated my graphics and Windows drivers. I would definitely say get a hold of our
customer support.
Our technical support and customer service. you have it for life. So definitely give them a ring. They would be more capable of troubleshooting that with you. Looking right now, we've got an RTX 4060 by Zotac. This is a nice little card. It's a 2-fan. How does it feel in your hands?
Oh yes, this is very, very light. This is no 4-pound graphics card, I'll tell you that much.
There we go. Bites mentions it sort of reminds me of Mjolnir, the custom Swedish case that only used magnets on the side panels. You didn't think you needed a screw or latches. That's nice. Love the back panel. Me too. Oh, I'm rude. Hi. Says I was able to snag myself a 5090 gaming trio bundle from MSI a few days ago. I'm stoked. Nicely done. Nicely done. That is always a joy. So we aren't going to need an anti-sag device.
Correct.
That's what you're saying. Nice. Excellent. And yes, our tech support is awesome. I definitely stand by that. Every day of the week and twice on Sundays. They sent Final Kill Cam, what's up? They sent me there about my 4080 and extra RAM, an amazing team. Oh, I'm glad that I'm really glad that was a great experience for you. I can't wait for a 4.5 pound 5090 to end up on this table. I bet he would take one look at it and be like, what the? All right, well, he gets those panels put back on. What I want to do is take you on a journey. And this is a journey into sound. No, this is a journey to our website. It is clxgaming.com. We're going to talk about how you can get your hands on an amazing PC. So at clxgaming.com, we make it as easy as possible to get the PC that you need, the PC of your dreams. We've got multiple different sizes, whether you want a full size, whether you want an ITX size, the small ones, we've got them all. We've got Intel, AMD, we've got Radeon, NVIDIA. We even, at all of that plus, we also have the ability for you to pick and choose and match anything you want. If you want to have your system overcharged, like not overcharged.
Clocked.
Wow, DJ. There we go. Overclocked. You can do that for you. We can overclock your GPU, your CPU, or both. We can upgrade your thermal paste as well. And you don't have to worry about screwing anything up because we've got a foolproof system to make sure that you can't put together incompatible items. So for example, you notice that little button turned yellow? So in this scenario, you've got a power supply that isn't quite strong enough to actually run the graphics card that was chosen. So it's going to say, all right, you can either choose one of these graphics cards that will run with this power supply, or choose one of these power supplies that'll run with your chosen graphics card. Once you solve the problem, it goes right back to green and you can move right on down the road. Well, you want extra drives, you want cable mods, we've got it all. Plus, when you get over to our accessories page, this is where the fun starts. So not only do we have a merchandise tab, which allows you to get all sorts of CLX branded clothing, including hats because it's summer, for the winter because it's cold, the windbreakers, which are actually really warm. I love those things. We've got everything else. Keyboards, mice, controllers, headsets, mics. We even have streaming gear. We carry Elgato capture cards. We carry the Beacon Mix Creates and Beacon mics. They're all fantastic. You want speakers? We got them. You want a new monitor? We got them. Do you want a router? Do you want a chair? We got them. So it's kind of a one-stop shopping center. Now, that has sometimes gotten people a little bit overwhelmed. So in that case, what you want to do is head on over to that side menu and go down to where it says ready to ship, or RTS section. Now, these are pre-built and designed by the team there at the warehouse and the builders. They've come in multiple different styles. So whether or not you want a basic entry level or you want to go all the way up to ultra high performance, it'll give you a little bit of an idea as to what you're looking at for not just performance, but also for cost. So check it out right there. Therefore, for all of your future PC needs, head on over to clxgaming.com and see what we can do for you. That was the roughest one I've ever done. There we go. Look at that. I dig it. This looks great. Yep, there we go.
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
We ready to see this puppy light up?
yes.
Let's go. Boop. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's going to be very bright, too.
Oh, yes.
Which is one of the things I love about the white cases. It just kind of, the colors just expand.
Oh, yes.
I dig it. So let's go back over what's inside of this beautiful little PC one more time. This is a Leon Lee 011 Mini in Snow White. It's got an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. It's being cooled by a CLX Quench 240 in black. We've got an ASRock B550M-C motherboard with 16 gigs of Patriot 3200 RAM. We've got a Team Group 1 terabyte NVMe M.2 for the operating system. The GPU is a Zotac RTX 4068 gig with 9 GameDS M2 fans and an Leon Lee 850 watt SFX in white. That is what's going out to our friend Jalira. Yes, in Houston. So, with that being said, this show happens in 2 parts. In just a few moments, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you are going to be able to spend the afternoon with Zach as he continues to build some really amazing things. This show happens every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. Tuesdays, like today, we're on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. On Thursdays, we're on TikTok, so definitely tune in for that show. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you'd like to find out more about what's going on with all things CLX, you can head on over to YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, all at CLX Gaming. If you want to jump into our Discord and hang out with a bunch of like-minded PC enthusiasts, whether you got questions or you just want to be like, hey, I did a thing, check it out. It's discord.gg/CLX Gaming. Now, with that being said, I believe we are ready to do it. So on behalf of Jason and Kyle in production and just Zach today, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye. What is up, Scooby Gang? I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend where it was 60-degree weather, and then I really hope you enjoyed waking up to it being 30 degrees today. I didn't like it at all. It was not fun. But thank you for coming and hanging out.